Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly, and we're going to talk about branding. So, for everybody who's here in this room, hi, Peter, raise your hand if you've built something online, ever. Great. Okay, pretty much everybody, right? Okay, so of everyone who just raised their hand, raise your hand if you designed that thing yourself. Okay, right, most everybody. Now, of everyone who just raised their hand, raise your hand if it really looked good. Oh, that's okay. All right. This guy was very confident when he raised his hand. So if this talk goes badly, you just hire him. Cool. Okay. All right. So we are going to talk about branding. What do we mean? What do we mean when we say branding, right? What we really mean when we say branding, people throw that word around a lot, but really we're talking about visual identity. Okay? And what your visual identity usually encompasses are these three things: your logo, your colors, your typography. Now there's other stuff, right? There's like patterns and icons and all kinds of other stuff that goes into what you see on the screen. But today we're just going to talk about these three. We don't have that much time, right? Okay, so if you are not a designer and you have to create a visual identity for your brand, I mean, how do you go about it, right? The obvious answer is you hire someone who knows what they're doing. As a designer, I think, like, support creative professionals, hire them, pay them money, right? But most of us are usually building like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 things at a time, right? So it's not really practical to hire a designer, especially when you're in the beginning of that thing, when you're just like building out your MVP. It's not validated. You don't know if anyone wants this thing. You're not going to hire a designer at that point. It doesn't make sense. So your next option is just like kind of pull it out of your butt, make something, right? But that doesn't always go very well. So now, because we live in the future, we use AI. This is what we try to do anyway. Now, I'd love to say that you can just go to AI and click a button and it's going to give you this beautiful, unique, long-lasting brand that's going to engage all your users and grow with your brand and be recognizable to everybody. But, it's just not the case, even though there's a lot of tools that make that promise. Okay, so I've tried most of these tools. As a designer, I don't really love them just because I like doing stuff myself. But yeah, I can tell you that really the output of most of these tools is something pretty, right? But pretty is not enough. It does need to be pretty, right? A good visual identity looks good. It does look good, but there's other things involved here. Number one, needs to be appropriate to what you're building, to your users, to the experience you want your users to have, how they feel when they're using the app. It also needs to stand out among your competitors. It needs to not look the same as everything else. And it needs to be flexible, right? It needs to work in your app. It needs to work on your landing page. It needs to work on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you are. It needs to work in all of these different places, right? And that's like a lot of stuff that your brand has to accomplish. And if you just give that whole process away to one of these tools, it's really hard to know if these tools have accomplished all of that, right? Unless you know some stuff. You gotta know some stuff to know if it's doing that job. It's fine, totally fine to let AI execute for you, but you have to be the driver of the thinking in this process. Okay, so today, in the next 25 minutes, what we're going to do is learn some basics, not all of them, some of them, and then we're going to let AI do some stuff for us. Okay, sound good? Everybody on board for this? Okay, great. So I'm going to give you a process, not the process, a process. And we're going to do this with a fake app that I've made up that I wish existed, and we're going to go through the whole thing together. So here's the concept. I'll tell you this really quickly. I'm an aunt. I have many nieces and nephews, lots and lots of them. And if you aren't aware, this is the gender-neutral word for niece and nephew, Nibling. That's an actual word. So that's the name of our app. And the concept of the app is you've got aunts and uncles like me. We live far away from these little Niblings. And then when we see them, we're like, how's soccer going? And they're like, girl, I quit soccer 2 years ago. What are you talking about? Or like, are you still into Pokemon? And they're like, I don't even know what kids watch now, right? I don't know what's going on with them. So the concept of the app is my sisters can go in, create a profile for all their kids, and then just update it with the stuff that they're into, the grade they're in, when's their birthday, how old are they, so that I can just look at their profile and go, aha, Bella is in gymnastics now. She's no longer in soccer, right? That's the idea. Please, someone make this thing. I'm not going to do it. I would love it if someone made it. So we're going to go through our process. We have very little time, so we're going to go quickly. And if you're lost, watch the replay on like half speed, okay? All right, we're going to make these 3 things. Logo, colors, typography, but we're not going to do it in this order. Everyone thinks the logo is like the first thing, and it's just not. It's not the first thing. It's maybe even not a thing, and we'll get to that. We're going to do colors first. Okay. How many colors do you need? Now, if you saw my talk last year, you know that I believe you need just one. You only need one color. Maybe you don't even need a color, but one is enough. This is not our app. This is just like an example, right? You really just need one color with many shades of that color. And this can also work for your marketing. However, today we're talking color, so we're going to have more than one color. What we're actually going to come up with is a primary color, and then we're going to have 2 accent colors, and then 2 neutrals. Neutrals for like text and for backgrounds, just easy neutral colors. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Where are we going to start? What are we going to do? Well, if you are a designer, you open up your color picker and you start playing with it, and you pick some colors, and it's really fun, and then you pick other colors that go with your color, and it's a great time. But if you're not a designer, this is terrifying. Nobody knows what to do with this thing, okay? So we're not going to use this, or we're not actually going to use any of these, even though it took a long time to put this slide together. And here's why we're not going to use any of these. So this is Chroma. It's a really cool AI thing, but look at the promise here. Design with colors you love. That sounds nice, but it doesn't matter what colors you love. This app is not for you. It's not for you. It's for your users, right? The purpose of color in any kind of platform is not so that you, the builder, like it. That's just not even a factor at all. The purpose is to build an emotional tone, to set the tone for your users. So one of the few tools that I know of that allows you to set an emotional tone, to dictate the emotional tone, is Claude. Claude, ChatGPT, same, right? Okay, so we're not going to use fancy color generators or any of that stuff. We're going to use Claude. And here's how we're going to prompt it. We have to build a prompt. Everybody knows this, right? So here's what your prompt includes. Some instruction. So I'm not going to give you the whole prompt, but your basic prompt is going to include, for this, a primary color, one primary color. Now, you could certainly ask it to give you a full color palette, right? But again, we're not going to give it away to them, to Claude. We want to build something ourselves. So we're just going to ask for a primary color to start from that we are going to work with, okay? We want the hex code for that color. This is like the ID number of a color on the internet. And then we want some justification for why they picked that color. This is just interesting. I find it just interesting, but you might also learn some stuff. Okay, our user profile, this is for moms, it's for adults. Maybe someday it will also be for kids. So we're going to tell them that. I already told you what are the features, what's the purpose of this. So we'll just kind of skip over this part, but you have to tell them. And then this part is the most important thing, the feeling that people will get when they use your app, ideally. So our feeling is going to be lots of adjectives, right? Excited, it's fun, it's energetic, it's not chaotic. And then at the bottom here, which you can't really see because it's behind the lectern, but it says, these adults care. They care about the emotional development of the children in their lives. And so this app, the colors should have a sense of maturity along with the fun, okay? This adds some nuance to your prompt. It's not just like kind of almost cliche, you know, excited, it's fun, it's energetic, right? We want a little bit of nuance in there. And that will help to distinguish it from other things in the space. Okay, and then some restrictions. Tell it what not to give you. We don't want I as the builder, I don't want primary colors like red, blue, green that you see in like a nursery school classroom. I don't want gendered colors. I want something a little bit more neutral in the middle, something a little bit unexpected. I don't want it to be babyish because this app should work for parents of babies all the way up to like 12, 14 years old. And then you want to tell it your competitors and say, avoid those colors. I don't know if there are competitors to this app, but I would put their names in there and say, avoid these colors of this competitor. And you can just say the competitor's name, it can find them. Okay, so I put all that into Claude. Here's what it pooped out. It gave me blue. That's a blue. It looks a little green on here, but it's blue on my screen. So, ironic for a presentation about color. What you see. So it gave me blue, right? And this is like, you know, it's AI. Sometimes it's going to give you stuff that you didn't ask for. So I said, give me another one, and give me another one. So I'm going to ask it to give me a few. And then I'm just going to pick one, or I'm going to run this whole process with each of them and see what comes out of it. Okay, so purple. We're going to work with this purple. So I look at this purple and I go, yeah, it's kind of nice. It's cool. It feels a little muted to me, though. They maybe went a little too much on the maturity part of the prompt. So I'm going to take this purple and I want to like punch it up somehow. So one of the tools that we use as designers is this. So this is a model for working with color, and you can find it in your color picker. You can change it from this. I'll show you kind of what it looks like. So I've got my hex code. I change it to HLS or HSB, same thing. HSB, and I can just move this, and it just punches up the color, or it kind of mutes it even more, right? I'll let you see it again. You just take that little slider down, it kind of mutes it, and then it can be super punchy. We're going to leave it at 40, okay? It's a number value. So we had this, and then we kind of moved to this. So point is, you don't have to just take what Claude gives you. You can work with it a little bit to find something that feels more the vibe that you're going for. Again, it's not that I like this purple better. It's more of the vibe that I want. Okay, so now we have our base color. This is the base color that we're going to work from. So what do you do now? We turn to our color wheel, our old friend, the color wheel. So we all remember this from like elementary school, right? Designers use this thing. They actually use it, but they use like a fancy version of it. They call this the continuous color wheel or the full spectrum color wheel. So what you do with this, and it's always the same. It like looks the same. Those colors don't move around. What you do with it is you find your color. You do this by typing in the hex code in any number of online color wheel tools. You type in the hex code, and it's like, that's your purple. That's your color. It's right there. It's always going to be there forever until the end of history, even after the internet is gone. That's our color. So then we're supposed to pick a complementary color, right? You've heard this, like you want complementary colors. What does that mean? What does it mean? Well, it's actually a technical term. Complementary color means it's across on the color wheel from your original colors, just directly across, the same distance from the center out, okay? This is a technical term. It's a complementary color scheme. So, color scheme. There are 7 of them, 7 color schemes, and they are monochromatic, which basically means it's on the same radius. We've got these colors along the same radius. Analogous means they're next to each other, and these are set angles. They should be the same. Same angle, right? On the same circumference. From there we already know complementary. Split complementary is kind of fun, look. It's like complementary and then you split it, right? Complementary, you split it, fun. Triadic is a triangle, square, you guessed it, it's a square. And then tetradic, which is terrifying. There's way too many colors, even though it's kind of like a little man doing snow angels. It's a little fun, but also scary. Don't use this one. So the point is, these color schemes are mathematically harmonious. They always work together, okay? So if you are not a designer, freaking use these, okay? Okay, now there's so many of them. I recommend you pick one of these three to work with. Complementary, split complementary, or triadic. These are like your trusty friends, especially in an app because the colors, not so much in this one, they have great contrast. They're really distinctive, okay? So it works well in software. P.S., this is part of color theory. This is that sort of like, whatever that term is, this is a part of it. Okay, so we're gonna try this live. This is a color wheel tool that I use all the time. There's so many of these. You just color wheel. This is not even gonna be on the first page, but it's a really useful one. So I am going to go to my color wheel. Here we go. And here's what's fun about it. So you're gonna pop your hex code right in this little field right here. And then you click on these and it just gives you all of your different color combinations. Triadic, tetradic, there's your square, right? And you can see in the bottom here, it gives you all the color codes and you can just click on them and copy them. Now you have your colors. It was that easy. That took like 1 second, right? Okay, now I'm gonna take those colors and I'm gonna stick with triadic. I like triadic the best. I'm gonna just go with it, right? You can do it with any of them. And I'm gonna go to a second tool called Coolors. Probably some of you have found this and played with it. It's the most fun thing on the internet. It's super, super fun. But what we're gonna do with it has a lot more features than you would expect. I just love Coolors. Okay, so you're gonna take your color codes. We've already got the one here. And then you're going to, oh my God, it's so hard to look here and do this. Copy your color code. You're gonna add another color and you're gonna paste your color code in here, okay? And you're gonna do that for all of your colors. There we go. And now we have our basic color palette plus white. You always want white in there or some version of white. So this is your starting point. From here, we need shades of these colors that we can use in various ways. It just gives us a lot more options, okay? So the way we add our shades, we're gonna copy this, we're gonna add another one, pop that in there, and now we have this little icon right here, View Shades. So when I click on that, like magic, it just gives me all the shades of this color and all of the hex codes that you might need. So we're gonna select that one. Now we've got our shade of purple. We probably need like 2 or 3 shades of purple in our color palette. And we're gonna do that with these and these. We're gonna do that with all of these. Okay, so we've got our shades, let's pretend. And now we need, oops, ignore that just happened, and ignore that just happened. So now we need our neutrals. Neutrals are gonna be like our font color and just general background colors that are just like, you don't even notice. Okay? The way that I pick my font color is I take my primary color and I use that as the base. Here we go. Oops. There we go. And now I'm gonna go to my shades and I'm gonna pick a dark one, a really dark one. Not too dark. We don't want black for our text, almost ever. It's like harsh on the eyes and it's not that interesting. So I like to go with a dark version of my primary color. Maybe that's even a little bit too dark. And this now, this dark, dark, dark purple, 5 minutes? No. Oh no, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, all right, this is my font color. Okay, I'm moving on. One of the cool features, I just wanted to show you this really quick. There's so many features in this that just explore it. But one of the features that I want to show you is that you can go up here to Tools and go to Palette Visualizer, and it will give you mock-ups using these colors, particularly here, right? It's just like puts it in some context. Obviously, this is not my app, but it puts it in context and you can kind of shuffle the colors around. It just helps you to visualize what it might be like. Okay, good Lord. All right. Okay, like I said, we're gonna speed through this. Okay, so we got our colors. Here's our thing. Okay, we did that. All right, so we're gonna apply these colors. You ready? Ready to apply the colors? Okay, great. Here we go. Wow, what a difference, right? We've got some colors, it works. You have to do this in whatever you're working in, Figma or whatever. That part's tedious. But now, okay, I was gonna summarize it for you, but this is not the only way. Other people can do this in different ways. This is just an easy way that you can do it. Okay, all right, let's talk about typography. Number one rule, typography, you have to be able to read it. You just have to. And a second thing, you can use these fonts. They're very easy to use. Just don't stress about what fonts you use for most apps. But for our app, we need a bit of an emotional tone, right? This font doesn't really work for a kid's app. So we want to go back to Claude. We're going to give it, in the same thread even, the same prompt, but we're going to give it a couple different instructions. Number one, we want free fonts. For an MVP, just get your free fonts. Don't pay for a font. We want a display font. That means it's big. It's probably kind of chunky. It's meant for bigger palettes. And then one body font in multiple weights so that you can just pair a heavier weight with a lighter weight and you never have to think about font pairing. Okay, and then gave it some restrictions and some references, and this is what Claude gave us, which I was pretty happy with. I chose this one, the second one here. And then this one works great. You can see it's a little bit rounded on the corners, which is like a friendlier, more welcoming vibe for a children's situation. So we've got our color, and now we're gonna add our fonts, which just adds like such a lovely little personality to the app. In particular, like the page title, right? It was that, and now it's that. It's just lovely, right? So, yay, Claude, good job. Okay, logo. Logo's not a big deal. I mean, it's just not, it's not. You can just use the font that it gave you, the display font, and make the name, just write the name of your app. You can do that. Plenty of businesses do this. But if you absolutely feel like you need one of these icon things, just don't use these guys because they're not going to give you something really useful. In fact, this is what one of them gave me, I'm not joking, for a logo. So it's mostly crap. This one was the best one that I found. Now, it's not going to give you that nuance, okay? It's not going to give you that. Here are some rules for logos, okay? And so you need this if you're going to use a tool like this. Number one, simple enough to draw from memory. For example, we all know these, right? Everyone wants to put everything in their logo. They want to like explain their business in their logo, and that is not what you want. You want a feeling, right? There's no guy playing soccer in this logo. It's a feeling of movement. This is a feeling of precision, of class. This kind of looks like French fries, but it also kind of makes you hungry. Okay, it needs to be adaptable for different screens. I'm going to speed through this. Okay, I'm just going to go. It has to be big, it has to be small. It's got to work in color. It's got to work on a dark background, and it needs to work in gray. So those are your rules for a logo. You also need the vector files, also called the source files. And what I mean by that is you can scale it infinitely. It's not going to be grainy when you blow it up. So if a designer or some platform tries to give you a PNG or a JPEG, you need more than that. What you need is an SVG. That is what I mean by a vector file. You have to pay for this, okay? The cheap version, worthless. You just threw away 25 bucks. You gotta pay for it. Logo source files. Okay, so we did this. We gave it some keywords for our logo, and that's the most any of these tools allows you to do, is just give some keywords. And it gave me this. But not bad, right? It's kind of okay. Now, what I noticed about this is this font, which you can't really see, is very similar to the font that Claude gave me. It's very, very similar. So I wanted to change it up a little bit, went back to Claude, gave it a prompt. I wanted a chunky font, something really round and friendly and readable and stable. And it works with my fonts, and tell it what fonts you're using. Okay, and this is what it gave me. And I thought, yeah, actually that kind of works. So we went from this to this, and now, are you ready to see the final product? Ready? Okay, we go from gray. Oh, sorry, that was anticlimactic. We go from gray, and we add some color. And now we add our fonts, and now we add our logo. Here we go. It works. We did it, guys. We did it. Okay. So now we have a visual identity that we did in like 20 friggin' minutes. It's pretty enough. It's appropriate for everything that we're trying to do with this app. It doesn't look like our competitors, whoever they are, and it's flexible. You can use it in the app and on your marketing page. And so here is your homework. find the product that you're building that you're working on right now. Build out your visual identity. Choose your colors, choose your typography, use these concepts. Create a logo if you want to, and then I would love to see it. So I hope that you will find me online and send me your identity. And that's it, we did it. I think we did it in time.